And you join us in perfect time as the players make their way out onto the pitch. Led out by the match officials from Latvia. The referee is 36-year-old Vitalis Spazionikos. Big day for him. He is well experienced at this level. And let's bring you the team news, starting with Northern Ireland. It's a back three for the Green and White Army. Lawrence, Kofi Balmer, part of it. In midfield, fellow Irish League player Terry Devlin, who is at Dungannon Swifts. He's joining Galbraith and Allen in the heart of the midfield. And up front, Linfield's Chris McKee partners Dale Taylor. That's where they're hoping the goals will come from. For the visitors, Spain, Barcelona's Arnau Tenas starts in goal. It's a La Liga littered starting 11, as you would well expect. Rodri, Olasagasti and Gregara are their midfield three. Brian Hill of Spurs and Abel Ruiz of Sporting Braga. Gives you an idea of the firepower that they have to offer. We will hear from our co-commentator Jared Little in just a moment, but first it's time for the national anthems. We are close to a full house here in Larne as well, which is great to see. I think we will fill up all of those seats as the last few supporters trickle in the church end underneath us here from our commentary position. And for the first time this afternoon, I welcome Jared Little on to our commentary. Under-19s, under-17s manager. You'll be on a plane in a way, taking part in matches soon yourself, but the international stage, it's all there for these players to go and further their careers, make a name for themselves.
It definitely is, Michael, and no better game against one of the best nations, you know, in Spain. They've already played them in the campaign and lost 3-0, so this will be a big test for the young lads today. And again, I'm sure John will have them really well up for it, and boys looking to go and show exactly what they can do.
We should be under no illusions. The difficulty, the scale of the challenge, and Northern Ireland, because they've had some success in the under-21s, players have pushed up into the senior squad, which opens up avenues for other players to step through, and we're going to see some of them today, you would suspect.
Yeah, again, and them players being Charlie Allen, who's, I'm just looking around, I think this could be his debut for the 21s. Terry Devlin's already played, but again, falls into that same age bracket. Aaron Donnelly, he's been with the 21s, actually bypassed my squad, and as Sean Stewart did, so they're still a young 21 team. And again, looking at the bench, some of the young talent coming through, and Ross McCausland and players like that. So, listen, the future's bright. I've said it before, Michael. You know, and it's great to see young players getting an opportunity. Even under Ian last night, watching the game, and Shay Charge coming off the bench, who's just left my under-19s. Brodie Spencer. You know, it's great to see, and again, it's a knock-on effect, as you said. If Ian calls on a 21's players, then John calls on my under-19s players. I tend to turn my phone off closer to any training camps when John's trying to ring me. But no, great to see, and it's exciting times, I think, ahead.
Well, that's very honest of you to admit. Spain unbeaten and through, already having won 6 from 6. Northern Ireland's fortunes rather different, 6 points after 6 outings. But how they would love a famous scalp if they could manage it here.
Yeah, and again, it's happened before. I think the last time we beat Spain was in 2018. I think Ian might have been the manager then. Yeah, it was a 2-1 win, if my memory serves me well. You know, so it's definitely a wee bit of belief, and it's there, and you know, it's just on the day, and hopefully we catch Spain on an off day.
Miranda moving it inside as an early touch for John Pacheco. The Real Sociedad youngster played 10 times in La Liga this season. An embarrassment of riches for their head coach, Luis de la Fuente, himself a former player. Pacheco looking up and trying to find a way in behind Northern Ireland's defence, and they've managed that. Brian Hill is in on goal, and it's a very good save from Dermot Mee, having to stand strong as that run from Hill found its way in behind. The flag stayed down, and the defence inside a minute carved open.
Yeah, it's early signs right away. Their intent of attacking, Michael, you know, it's just the way they play. It's their culture they get it, they move it, and the switch play, they suck you in one side and just hit a diag the other. And if you're not on your game and fully focus, you know, it could be a dangerous game that we're playing.
Balmer doing well to steer that header to Jack Scott, as Northern Ireland now have it back under their control for the time being. An early warning, but one they were able to deal with. And when we're talking about opportunities as well, it's an opportunity for Dermot Mee, because there's been a lot of competition for that #1 goalkeeper jersey. You know, you can see Manchester United beside his name and make assumptions, but Liam Hughes of Liverpool, etc., Weber, you run through the names. There's plenty of good goalkeepers coming through.
Yeah, with Josh Clark there, who again is an under-19 goalkeeper, is currently up with the senior squad at the minute, and Dermot's probably been slightly unlucky in terms of when I took the job. It was the 2002s that I was meant to look after. Obviously COVID came in, and he didn't get an opportunity to work alongside him, but you know, he's now coming to that age, and he's done well at his club, and he's now earned his spot in John's squad and starting lineup.
Good battling there from Chris McKee. Certainly impressed in his last campaign with Linfield, didn't he? And now signing on for the next couple of years with the Irish Premiership champions. The Irish League representation, a point of pride for the Northern Ireland Football League, as we see that one just run a little too far away, in fairness, despite Taylor's best efforts. But having the league as that platform, and having more players progress through the league onto the international stage, that must be, I guess, proof of the development of where football is domestically in Northern Ireland. Absolutely.
We spoke, you know, at large lengths, Michael, in the last time we were working together about how far the league's come on, and obviously the likes of, you know, Larne at the minute, and Glentoran and Linfield, and the clubs that are going full time is definitely, you know, helping our players. There's no doubt about it. You know, the project that's going on here, you look around, you know, what we have here is brilliant, and being able to host, you know, an under-21 game like this and host it well is absolute credit to Larne and the league. So, you know, John and I have spoke loads of times about, you know, Irish League players playing every week and playing men's football compared to our younger players who are playing sort of developmental football, and it's hard to actually bypass, you know, the likes of Terry Devlin, who's, I don't know, I think he's probably 60 odd games under his belt at the minute, men's football, and doing really well. So, you know, long may that continue. And again, you know, it's not the be all and end all. We've said it before. If players don't make it across at 16, you know, they can still have a great career here. And
let's just see where this moves from. A shot in anger from distance. Rodrigo Riquelme of Atletico Madrid but not able to find the target. It's a great point you're making, Jared. Just, looking at how the ball's been moved, you can see early on Spain trying a couple of diagonals. Ruiz, the captain, playing through the centre of their three-pronged attack, and Hill coming off that right side are natural targets, I guess.
Yeah, they are, and again, they don't let you settle. You can just look at
well, he's coming now, Brian Hill.
Yeah.
He's found Ruiz, the two we've just been talking about, and isn't that an accomplished challenge coming in from Kofi Balmer? His 20th cap for the under-21s, experienced at this level substantially, and that was a very good bit of defending, timely, as that deadly duo linked up. And Spain are just getting ready for the corner, as our replay shows you what we're talking about. Balmer getting that block in, the ball hanging in the edge of the area, little touch, just not quite sitting for the Spaniards there. Rodri teasing it in, and Scott's header only finding Miranda. It's pinball, and it's pumped away by McKee, who's back, offering additional support in defence, much needed support as well. Miranda showing such good technique to get over that volley, and that's coming from the fullback. So Northern Ireland's defenders were under no illusions they were going to be busy today, but it does take a collective effort when you're against such quality.
Yeah, it's great defending actually, as well as good attack and play from Spain. But just come back on Kofi, he'll bring a wealth of experience to that back five, back three. You can see him now clearly organising, and he's matured unbelievably well this year since he's went to Larne. He's had a really good season.
Pressure on the keeper is trying to cut across you. Tanas has just put under a bit of bother there, but he was able to clear his lines before it went over the line, and it was almost shades of a couple of recent incidents where Man City, one went their way and one didn't, if you recall those. But yes, that experience you're talking about.
On Kofi, yeah, as I say, he's had a great season with Larne, and he's adapted really well to full-time football, and now we know that there's a couple of interested parties in the UK looking to potentially bring him across. So great to see again, and again, I know John loves him, has loved him around the 21s, and he's
well, that's really good pressing, and it could give Northern Ireland a chance to get in front. Tanas getting it to deny Terry Devlin, and that is much, much better from Northern Ireland. The pressing posing problems for Spain, who were a little complacent there, and Devlin nearly picking them off. But that is a brilliant bit of goalkeeping from Tanas.
Yeah, again, you have to press them. First 15 minutes, let's see what they're about. Go and press and try and win the ball and unsettle them, and that's a couple of wee opportunities in the final third they've had.
You could be forgiven for thinking you were in Spain today. It's certainly warmed up here in Larne. That is a very congested penalty area, and the referee is making sure that there's no pushing and shoving going on. Good luck with that, I would put it to you, but he will try his level best as well. Movement around the keeper being monitored too by our Latvian man in the middle, as Northern Ireland put the ball in, and nearly as soon as the ball had left his boot, the whistle was blown, and that was a little bit predictable, says the cynic.
It was always going to happen. Always going to happen, Michael. Again, in the box, we're talking about Kofi. He's another big threat in the box, as is Sam McClelland and Aaron Donnelly. Three big lads there. If we can find areas, they'll go and attack.
That was watched and headed away as Spain assess the options around them. Just Miranda. Now Riquelme had a shot off target. He's found the target this time. Well, I suppose technically it'll go down as off target. It's inside of the post. He is mightily unlucky that has not gone in. It was a wonderful bit of wizardry, and he so nearly teased that inside the upright, and it was the instinctive reflex action from the keeper that's seen it behind for the corner, as Northern Ireland prepared to defend the second phase of the attack. But, well, you were wondering who might he pass to. He didn't need anyone now. He's on the corner duty. The front post flick on is well watched by the hosts. Everybody in green back as well. They need to be. Beautiful control. And floated deep, but just a little too deep for Ruiz on that occasion, and Northern Ireland can breathe a little bit. But I mean, they're a joy to watch, and I'm sure, you know, horrible to play against, but you just have to appreciate moments like that.
You do, obviously, as a spectator, but certainly not as a manager or a coach standing watching. And there's not an awful lot you can do. I was about to applaud Dale Taylor for his work rate back and supporting the defenders, but he just wouldn't bite him as if he wasn't there.
Well, it's opening up again, and that has fallen as Northern Ireland try and force a way through, and it's good work, well, from a number of players, but McKee, the furthest forward there, that was hoping he could just maybe get a toe poke or something on that, but it's being forced into defending and conceding the corner.
I think, Michael, if we can get the ball forward a wee bit quicker, they seem a little bit ropey defensively, you know, as good as they are attacking.
Well, now it's Spain's turn to bring everyone back, so that shows you they are aware of the aerial threat posed by John Schofield's charges. We're getting more lectures on movement and holding and all that sort of stuff in the centre. This time we do have a corner that continues, and the keeper, Tanas, had stumbled but was able to pick himself back up in time to catch the ball. And, well, you've identified the guilty party here.
Thought someone had kicked out. Maybe my eyes are playing tricks on me.
Well, the player, Aaron Donnelly's the player getting a little telling off. We are able to resume. Rodri with a flick creates space where there wasn't any. Riquelme, Miranda was there. Riquelme just undercooking that pass to him, but redeems himself by retrieving the ball, and Miranda's run won't be necessarily fruitless because they can hang bodies in there. Well, that's Agassi is offering, and he might be the player they go to now. Indeed he is. It's been a fast-paced start. Scott was able to cushion that, and Taylor finding a route through, but the offside flag is up. But you have to say it has been encouraging for Northern Ireland. After a couple of hairy moments defensively, they're proving that they're not just going to sit here and park the bus.
No, again, Spain are playing a very high line, and when they're attacking, they're leaving themselves wide open. So in the transition, if we can, you know, win that ball back and look for that forward pass early, Dale Taylor and Chris McKee will cause some problems, and obviously joining alongside Terry Davlin, who's already had a good chance.
Mathematically coming into this one, Northern Ireland could in theory still qualify. It's quite the long shot. They would have to win this game, their final game, and hope that Slovakia pick up no further points, and there's a 10-goal swing and goal difference. So I mean, it does give you an idea as how unlikely it might be, while it's still a possibility. But I imagine this is in many ways a free hit. If you look at it that way, you say you're playing against some of the best young players in the world, go and show them what you're capable of.
And go and show the manager also, you know, the young players coming in and what's there, they'll be looking opportunities to go and impress, because this is, I think, the second last game of the campaign. So John will be now thinking about what's coming through, you know, what age groups coming through, how can we look to implement them into how we're doing things. You know, John will gain so much experience in this campaign as well. It's his first one. You know, I'll set him up for the next campaign, so he'll learn an awful lot from this game also.
Unless Agasti unhappy with a little bit of contact that was made as the ball was played there. He's received sympathy from the referee, the Real Sociedad youngster who's had a couple of outings in the Copa del Rey.
I think when you look at the table, Michael is maybe hammered after this.
Yeah, let's see where Brian Hill goes first. Talk about players trying to, well, what a save. I was about to say, thinking about his own future, but that was almost turned in, and the reflexes from me were top drawer there.
Really good, great save. You know, some great play again by Spain down the side, overlaps and a little pull back, but what a great instinct to save that from me. You
know, you dangle a foot when that comes in at your own peril, really, don't you? And As a defender, you're just relieved that you've such a good goalkeeper who can dig you out when the occasion requires it. But yeah, Brian Hill, as I was saying, with Perisic coming in, Antonio Conte has options, and the referee will feel he doesn't have any other option but to produce a yellow card to Abel Ruiz. He's let his temper get the better of him there. Little flashpoint, moment of petulance, and the first booking of this otherwise well-behaved match.
Again, we bit of experience from Kofi. I think he had a wee push at him, and the Spanish player has reacted. Ruiz has reacted to him and got himself booked. But just before the attack, I was saying, Michael, that John will probably be kicking himself in the team, you know, because when you look at the points, they're sitting on 6 in the 2 games that they've lost against Malta. You know, was massively disappointing. I knew it affected John. He was very annoyed at it, and you know, he could be sitting potentially on 12 points going into this game with a big chance of qualifying.
What could have been the proverbial football tale. Rodri's deft touch helped move it along. Victor Gomez finding Hill. Not enough power on that one.
I have to say, Michael, it is absolutely roasting under this.
Well, we're in like a little perspex hut, aren't we? And it's given us...
It's like 100 degrees.
It's amplifying the temperature, making me regret the jumper.
Yeah, me too. I'd love to take this jumper off, but if a wee vest on, that wouldn't be a good show.
Well, our cameramen are glad they're pointing the other direction, but I'll add no further comment to the matter. As soon as they retrieve the ball again, it's going to be Northern Ireland, but just a little bit of a telling off. 1 or 2 Spanish players are not happy with maybe some of the more physical aspects of Northern Ireland's approach here. Great link-up play again, and that is a tantalising one. Just a bit too much on it. Dale Taylor was lurking. If they can get one of those right, it'll be interesting to see, because Tenas has already had to pull off a really good save already. Will he be tested again? We've a long way to go in this match. Just 17 minutes played as the visitors hang one into the air, and that was bread and butter for Dermot Mee. Coming forward, a great intent, and the pace that's at it there. Allen's pass appreciated by the home support as Scott plays a very good ball in. Allen was waiting. Charged down, Galbraith. This is good football from Northern Ireland. Charlie Allen starting to have more of a say. You always feel that Spain are so dangerous countering when you commit those bodies forwards. Scott's done very well to get touch tight to Riquelme and not allow him a further advance. Palmer had that one scouted and was comfortably watching that one all day. Galbraith just winning the next header as a little bit of head tennis emerges. Referee waving away the handball suggestion there, and it's going to be Taylor closing down Tenas. And if he was able to stand tall there, you just wonder what way that might have ricocheted. Easy to say from up here, of course. Different matter when someone kicks a football directly at your face from close range. Northern Ireland are now asking for a flag, and they will find it. Ruiz had just strayed a little early.
Yeah, it's a good line from the back three, Michael there, you know, patient communicating with each other, just to step up. And it's important when you're playing that three at the back that, you know, especially against one up top, that you don't end up marking one person against three. So, again, it should free one of your players up, definitely in possession anyway, probably the right or left side, to step in and overload.
Aaron Donnelly playing it back. It's the Aaron Donnelly of Nottingham Forest. Just assist anyone just joining us, because I know it does cause confusion. Not the Aaron Donnelly that's recently switched to Inver Park. Don't know if we're rating tumbles out of 10 there. It didn't seem like there was really much in that, but it just certainly took one afterwards. Spent some time at loan at Cadiz, the young Real Madrid defender. He's been talking about the inspiration from some of the other under-21s from Spain getting the call up recently too, and you know, that story isn't just pertinent to Northern Ireland. All these youth setups have that same aspiration, and when they see clubmates or international teammates at different levels get that call up, as Hugo Guillemon has made recently, they all start to think, maybe I'll be the next one.
Yeah, it gives players hope and obviously confidence, and you know, real desire to go and put good displays in. And when you have a senior manager who backs it, you know, it's no better feeling for a young player.
Miranda charged down. Great first touch in the back heel, not bad either. And Spain will settle for a corner, as Sam McClelland claps the structure defensively of his teammates. Lots of talking going on amongst the ranks of Northern Ireland, and that's a really good header, and it's a bullet header from Abel Ruiz. Nothing me could do, rendered a spectator himself. Pinpoint precision on the cross, and the Sporting Braga striker leapt and finished.
I think Big Sam will be disappointed with this. I think he's got inside Sam, if we can watch the replay, Michael. Can't really make it out with it.
Well, we're looking at a replay. There's a lot of glare in our area, which, just to clarify that. But, well, you've seen it for yourself. He makes that run, doesn't he? And it's what he so often does. I mean, he scored against Rangers in the Europa League this season. This is a guy that's playing week in, week out senior football at a very high level, and he will cause defenders problems, and it's not surprisingly that he has done it yet again. His 5th goal of these qualifiers, Ruiz.
Yeah, again, that's why he's such a top player, and you have to be, you know, on your guard, you know, for the whole 90 odd minutes that you're playing against a player like this. And again, I think just going by what I've seen there, Sam will be disappointed in his positioning. You know, maybe let him get inside, but again, he's a smart player, he's a top player, and I know John will be hugely disappointed because they've lost him a set play, or second phase set play.
Spain win the ball back, and they're hoping to strike while the iron is hot. Ruiz tried to just caress it, and Northern Ireland watched it wide of the base of the post.
It's important that they just take their time, reset, you know, react, you know, instead of get into a shell and they've just conceded. So it's important that you get one or two that just to calm the rest of the players down. You know, you're looking at Ethan and Kofi, you know, senior players there, just to calm things down and get going again, because they've played well so far, Northern Ireland.
Well, he will feel, Ruiz, that he should have scored that really from that sort of range with the room that he had.
Yeah.
But Northern Ireland let off the hook, having already just conceded from the same player. Tanas obviously feeling a little more confident as he was gallivanting himself, the keeper. Hill Northern Ireland choosing when to press and when to just sit off. Obviously something they've discussed about what areas they can afford to concede and maybe where they don't want to. Nations like Spain, when they have a goal, can be a little bit like a cat playing with their dinner. Rodri, Riquelme, Miranda, ever available, and arriving was Olasagasti. Northern Ireland again happy that he wasn't able to turn that one goalwards.
When you look at that play, Michael was just watching before the game. We were saying when they were warming up and they were doing some patterns of play, and it's exactly what they were doing there. They trained how to play. I tried to get a glimpse of their training yesterday, and by all accounts it was the same. You know, they were attacking, they were moving it 2-touch, you know, sucking players in, getting it down the wide areas and attacking.
Well, it opens for them here, and it's another that clinks off the woodwork.
Okay,
and Miranda, that bounced right in front of me, but safe hands from the shot stopper to stop it spilling out into the path of another Spaniard. Difficult passage of play this for the hosts. And you can hear the instruction from the bench, certainly we can anyway, get your shape again, and it's sometimes easier said than done. Football, as much as you want it to be a logical game, is an emotional game, and we know about the emotions of the spectators, but even just as a player, to try and calm yourself down and get back to basics.
Yeah, especially when you concede, you got to get 5 minutes and just calm everything down and try and keep the ball in the opposition half as much as possible, you know, and just reorganise and sit and, you know, just take a deep breath and get going again, because you say the first 15 minutes, okay, they've had a couple of opportunities, but so have we, and if we can just calm down and get back to moving the ball and keeping it at the right time, then, you know, we'll be okay.
Devlin's touch, Allen couldn't quite get it, but Galbraith showing good awareness to pull that pass inside as McClelland works it to Scott. Balmer, good disguise, and it's a good ball too. And what way will the referee point? Well, he looks across and his assistant instructs it will be a goal kick, which I do think was the right decision. Scott was hoping for a little bit of luck to fall his way there after working so well up that wing. Not to be on this occasion. Allen.
I think he's got that one right. It was good pressing and anticipation from Charlie to go and win that ball. That's frustrating when you've set up and try to set a trap, and that's what's happened.
Well, Charlie Allen knew where that pass was going to go before the keeper had struck it, and when he won the ball, the referee took a different view on matters.
When you have a keeper like Tanas and goal, Michael, that's so comfortable with a ball this feet, it's, you know, they can just move it. They're confident. They'll take it when they're being pressured. He'll find players in tight pockets, you know, like he done there.
Well, Barcelona have been out having a bit of an end of season tour in Australia, which I'm sure has been rather lovely. They took on the A-League All-Stars in Sydney, and Tanas got to come on for Ter Stegen. So, you know, these are really impressive moments, and he's at the very beginning of his career. But just imagine being able to do that and lining up with those sorts of players.
You can see the class from the kid already. You know, ball at his feet. He's had one wee slip up, but apart from that, you know, he's made a great save, and he's found three occasions he's found his players in tight areas.
Mind you, they didn't give it to him easy. He conceded 2 in 7 minutes, but he did make a wonder save at the end to win them the game. So just to make sure I'm not doing him a disservice. But I don't need to tell you that at that level, the margin for error is so fine. It's almost impossible to understand, really, until you've been near it and you've spoken to some of those players. That was a well-weighted pass. Galbraith has been pickpocketed as Northern Ireland lose the ball. Pacheco. Went on a mazy run, but wasn't able to find one of his teammates, and Northern Ireland trying to get in behind. And Taylor, well, he doesn't appeal too much. Maybe some of the supporters were hoping more than anything. You tend to look at the players' reaction, Jared, there, don't you?
Yeah, it was a little bit crafty. I think he just run out of legs. It was a great ball from Scott to Taylor, and a great run from him as well, just peeling off his shoulders. And he does that so well. You know, he's very clever and intelligent centre forward. But again, just run out of legs at the end and try to get something.
When you talk about experiences, no one likes to lose a final, but reaching an FA Youth Cup final, as Dale Taylor did for Nottingham Forest, just another thing to put on his ever-growing CV, isn't it?
Yeah, and again, it's been probably a little bit of a frustrated season for Dale. You know, he's had an injury for large parts of the start of the season, and sort of held him back in terms of his own development, and he probably would have been a lot closer to the first team by all accounts at Nottingham Forest. And then obviously he got himself fit, and he's got the opportunity to come in and make his debut for Ian's senior team. So, you know, he'll be looking to kick on next season, hopefully.
Ruiz, the Spanish goal scorer, to Miranda. McClelland dealing with the danger initially. Northern Ireland trying to deny Spain a second. Rodri, such a low centre of gravity, and once he'd engineered a bit of room for himself, he got a bit greedy and wasn't able to keep it down.
He looks such a great player, doesn't he? Just one of them players you love watching, left-footed, you know, just goes past you as if you're not there. But I think this side as well, Jack Scott probably needs a wee bit of help. You know, there's been a couple of occasions where he's been sort of overloaded and done. You know, we can get a wee bit of support either from Kofi or one of the midfielders just dropping in, you know, just tighten up a little bit.
Well, Rodri's most certainly well thought of at his club Real Betis. They've got him on a new contract to get away the Premier League interest to Spain. Try and get in behind again.
Great defender from Kofi.
And Kofi Palmer,
yeah, recovery.
Did enough.
I was worried there, Michael. Thought maybe he would have pulled him down, but he's done really well to stand up and put him off. Switch it.
I think they heard you. Alan made that diagonal run across the pitch away from us there, but Northern Ireland just steadying the ship and getting a few touches as they try and orchestrate something here themselves. Alan, it's a bit of a difficult one for him, and he was quickly taken off the ball. Ruiz, and the man over is Riquelme, and yet again they hit the post.
I love that post.
Well, it's the old one, if the net was a few inches wider, what would the score truly be? But, you know, we're both playing with the same rules here, and Spain haven't been able to avoid doing that, so it's the other way of looking at it, as harsh as it might sound. Northern Ireland have had to ride their luck at times.
Yeah, I think Sam will be disappointed because, you know, yeah, you give the ball away, but I'm just looking at the players in front, and they need to work probably a little bit harder when in possession, you know, for some options off the ball. And that's what Spain do so well. When you look at their players, they're just constantly on the move. They're constantly, if they don't get it the first time, they're looking to get it the second and third time. And we aren't doing that as much. Sometimes we are keeping the ball well, but there's no real purpose at the minute of keeping it.
Interesting just watching the even little tactical adaptations as time goes on in terms of how Spain approach things, because Northern Ireland were trying to press and make the back line make mistakes, and it's actually led to their keeper having more time on the ball and coming out being a bit more adventurous with it and saying, well, I don't necessarily need the defenders, let's just trick the forwards into marking them and I'll just play beyond them.
Bypass them, yep, absolutely. And again, what they do so well is they're getting the recovery now, they're keeping the ball, they're sucking you in, they're moving you about, and then they'll just open you up. Once they see an opportunity of a gap, like now, you know, they'll find it, they'll find the space, the player.
Hill pulled it in. Ruiz.
Wow.
Has anybody got a count on these? Crossbar this time, and the technique as he steps back and just swivels his hips. He knew exactly what he wanted as he watched it fall to him, but he wasn't able to get it to dip under the bar. Spain have not disappointed. That's a really good tackle.
Yeah.
Well, Spain momentarily had a man down. I think Brian Hill was maybe feeling a little sorry for himself more than anything, but once he didn't hear the whistle, he had a look around and he's picked himself up.
Welcome to Inver Park, welcome to Northern Ireland. Sometimes it takes that one sort of tackle to get your team lifted and get going, but come back to Reese there, what a technique. You know, he just looked as if he couldn't get the ball sitting down. He's just plucked it, and unreal.
It's fantastic balance from Riquelme. Getting away from Balmer, he was trying to play it to Ruiz, who had made exactly the run you'd want from your striker, but a toe comes out to take it behind, and between Balmer and McClelland, they've done very well, I have to say.
They have, and again, it's when you look at Spain's attacks, Michael, at the minute, they're coming down the sides, right and left, and you know, it's something that maybe John will need to look at half-time and try and fix. But I mean, every attack, you know, we're looking at, it's coming down left or right, with the full-backs and wingers overloading.
No respite for Northern Ireland's defenders. Balmer again winning the header. Victor Gomez wasn't quite sure what he was going for there, and Spain's bench were furious because they thought Northern Ireland might just try and be a bit more direct and run through the middle there. Didn't transpire that way. Taylor taking it under his spell and turning. It's fallen favourably for Northern Ireland, but I'm not sure they're going to be able to keep that in now. Just again a little over hit. Charlie Allen finding himself in that wider position, and we will have a stoppage in play here as Spain have a man down. Just it is that isn't feeling too comfortable at the moment, so he'll get a little bit of attention here, and I'm sure the Northern Ireland players, and that's exactly what they're going to do, are going to take on a drinks break, much needed in the heat, Jared. And do you think there's going to be much restructuring or much of a rethink at this stage, or is it more of the same, more or less, from John Schofield for those players?
I'm not sure, Michael. I think, you know, as I said, the attacks of the Spanish is down the side, and again the two wing backs are getting overloaded too many times, and they don't seem to be getting too much help, you know, relying maybe too much on cover from Kofi and on the other side Aaron Danley. So it could be something that John will maybe look at, and whether he'll restructure or re-look at a formation, I don't know. But again, you know, you could throw up 3 or 4 different formations against the Spanish, and they'll continue to find ways to break you down. You know, it's just they find these little pockets. You know, they move the ball so well, and you know they know when they overload, they know when to hit the box and when to hit the switch. So it'll be a hard one. But again, they'll have a wee think at half time and see exactly where they can maybe do better in.
Well, they've been forced into a change here, Spain. So Victor Schust is going to head off. That injury obviously not something he could shake off. And Alejandro Frances of Real Zaragoza is on in his place. And Frances, the 19-year-old, said to have his fair share of suitors too. And if you've time, go and find the goal he scored the volley against Eibar this season. My word. It's one of the many perks when you're sitting doing your research in games like this, Jared. I tell you, you see some glorious goals scored that you might have missed from throughout the season, and then you go, he's meant to be a centre-back, is he? Okay, duly noted.
Yeah. You know, when I was watching them yesterday, the goalkeepers were actually joining in the 11v11. They were one was playing midfield, the Spur goalkeepers, and one was playing centre-back, and you wouldn't have known that they were goalkeepers. They're that good with the ball at their feet.
That is the modern game. Could you imagine some of your old teammates, old goalkeepers as good as they were, being asked to do that sort of role?
No, definitely not. There'd be more balls in the stand. And
Rodri thought about turning one way, so just turned the other when that didn't work out. Riquelme. Lasagasti, head on a swivel, and me not able to prevent it crossing the line as it bounced up in front of him. 5 minutes until the break, plus whatever additional time we're served up here in Larne in this under-21 European qualifier, for which a goal from this position, corner from that side, headed in by Abel Ruiz, is what keeps the teams apart. Well, Spain were adamant that there was a handball in there. The referee looked across, and between him and his assistant said no. Advantage played. That little tug not going undetected, but in the spirit of things, we continue. Riquelme. Hill pulled it back, and it was Donnelly nearly standing on the line. Northern Ireland were pushed so far back, but they created that block, and well, they might have conceded the throw in there. They have done, as Sean Stewart went the wrong side of that sideline. But it really does show you how hard Northern Ireland are being worked when you've nearly a row of defenders across the line with the keeper, and this is the first half. It's not the Alamo at the end of a game or anything like that. It's just the high intensity.
Yeah. Again, I think when you look at our centre forwards, they're the majority of the game they're in their own half, and the time they do win the ball and where they're winning it, it's a big task to go and attack the Spanish goal. So again, maybe something John will look at and trying to get at least one of them higher up and occupying the two centre halves of Spain.
Northern Ireland not without their chances in the game, but Spain with, as you would have expected coming into it, the better ones. That's good from Galbraith. But
again,
then
it's that nothing to hit, Michael, we spoke about earlier. When we do win the ball, there's very little options. It's, you need to work harder when you don't have the ball as you do when you do have it, and that's frustrating as for a player. When you win the ball back, especially one of the defenders, when you've nothing to hit in front of you.
Is that a confidence thing? Do you have to be a little braver nearly and be insisting on the ball and making movements?
Absolutely, it's all about confidence, this game. And if you're on your game and you have that confidence and belief, and you understand your teammates as well in terms of their movements, it works well for you. But the other thing I was thinking about as well, Michael, it's interesting. A lot of these players have probably been off for a couple of weeks now. Their season's ended, and you can probably see one or two flagging already. In terms of their fitness and sharpness. So again, it's a big ask from the young lads.
Free kick awarded as we edge ever closer to the end of the half. And whilst it is only a goal, rule nothing out.
Definitely not. It's one of them games, we've seen it happen many times where opposition haven't taken their chance, and why, here we go, a late goal, a 1 each or a 1-0.
And you won't find anyone complaining here in Larne, outside of the Spain camp, of course, if that were to happen. But the signs are that Spain want a second before the break. Why wouldn't they? That woodwork has been well worked. Jared Little's fan club's arriving.
It's a legend, Jim Grattan, I'm waving down to, our welfare officer.
He's probably wanting on a few more of those flights you're getting to go on these days.
He's just shirted up Spain in some team. Don't I know, Jim?
We'll have to get Jim on as a commentary partner in the next game. That's good analysis. Spain are good, I'll write that one down.
Yeah.
Allen challenged, but Scott won it back, and he's quietly gone about his business well, actually. Maybe hasn't got the plaudits in the first half. We haven't been able to speak about him too much because going forward, which he's good at, he's not been able to do too much of, which you can understand, but quietly effective.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he's a top player. Here we go again, the overload down the side. It's damaging, you know, Scott, because he's having to work extra hard to try and stop that. And again, he either needs support quicker from Kofi or even in front of him, one of the midfielders. But Jack's a top player. You know, he's went on loan. He's at Wolves. He's went on this and that's. Again, he got injured and has been out of the team for a few weeks, so he's probably lacking that real match fitness and sharpness at the minute.
Well, that's a ghastly. That'll be bread and butter for Dermot Mee. One of a number of the young players who were part of the senior training camp in England recently, and has trained with Man United's first team on occasion too throughout the campaign. He might be worked in a moment as Riquelme tries to trick his way through, but he showed too much of it to the keeper.
Yeah, I was part of that training camp, Michael, and Dermot done really well. You know, he gave a real account of himself, and again, he was one of the young players that's left a really good impression in the senior manager's mind.
Well, we'll have no further time added on, as Northern Ireland will hope that Ethan Galbraith is not too seriously hurt with that coming together. I think what would you do in that?
Space here for me. Here. Okay. Yeah. I had it first off.
Welcome back to the second half as Northern Ireland rejoin us. Spain have been out for a little while. All that's left is the match officials, who, as you can see in the corner of your picture, have come out as well. High fives between them. They're obviously happy that it's so far so good from them, which, well, it's nice to see that everyone's enjoying their day in Northern Ireland. The home team have been worked hard. I can tell you there's been a further alteration from Spain. We can just see that player jogging on now. Sergio Cameo of Atletico Madrid has come on for the goal scorer Abel Ruiz. So that's the second change that Spain have made in this match, after Alejandro Frances came on earlier on for Victor Schust, who unfortunately pulled up with an injury in the first half. Northern Ireland, as we look across, appear unchanged for the time being. John Schofield sticking, not twisting. What do you think, Jared Little?
Yeah, again, he'll have a few things to say, I would imagine, at half time, knowing John, and a few things that he wouldn't have been happy with, and he'll be giving the boys maybe another 5-10 minutes to go and see if he can pull anything off. But I would imagine, you know, within the 10 minutes or so, you'll start seeing changes from Northern Ireland.
Back underway as Donnelly strokes it forward. Scott battling for the ball, and it's a lovely header through, and why not? Chris McKee trying to force the issue, and from a difficult angle couldn't quite go Van Basten on it, but that's a good sign of intent from the Green and White Army straight from kick-off. Pacheco, Ad Frances on one side, has elected for Miranda. And for all the style and grace, that in their ranks counts as a misplaced pass, and it still finds their keeper.
Yeah, I've seen one or two players looking at him in absolute disgust. But they do so well, Michael. They just suck you in. They stay calm on the ball and move it. They wait for opportunities, and in little pockets they appear, and they'll pick you off. And just like that, if a goalkeeper can just hit a 60-yard ball onto his right foot.
Well, the referee felt that Riquelme went down a little too easily. Rodri robbed of the ball by Donnelly. Nottingham Forest fans will be watching on with interest to see how their young guns do in this one. Their senior team, congratulations to them. Premier League once again. Well, the Northern Ireland boys get a sniff of the English top flight. Well, we can all dream and hope that that is the case.
It's great for us that we now have, potentially 3, I think, Premiership players. And we're the last season they were Championship players, and I class as Premiership players. So I think we've another 1 or 2 potentially moving across to the Nottingham Forest. We've a really good club. It's been really good with our players and looked after them in the past, and the boys absolutely love their time there, talking to them.
One of the players not in this squad but made his Premier League debut recently for Everton as well, Isaac Price.
Yeah.
Someone that I think everybody's having a look at the moment.
Yeah, Isaac's another player I was lucky to have last year in the 2003 squad for the under-19s, and again a top player, centre midfielder, one to watch definitely for the future. I think he's just carrying a little knock, and that's the reason why he hasn't been selected in the squad this time.
Making your debut against Arsenal is not a bad way to do it, even if the scoreline on the day wasn't one that the Toffees want to think too much about. Not in any great rush to go and get the ball there, as Northern Ireland regroup once again. Will they be able to find a bit more invention in this second half? They managed to get that early shot off after the interval, much like they did at the start of the game as well. A couple of early questions asked, and after that it became more and more and more about Spain as time went on, and people would say almost inevitably. No handball. Scott, that would have been offside. Just a little breakdown in communication there as Juan Miranda offers an opinion to the assistant official. I'm sure it was all complimentary. That's why we talk to refs, isn't it? To tell them they're good. Miranda. Looked offside to me. Brian Hill had gone early.
Oh, what a goal.
And that is a wonderful finish. Well, maybe when we see it back again, I'm doing a disservice to the assistant official. It was an accomplished strike. There is no question about that.
I think he's had to check his run, Michael, once or twice. And maybe
that's tight.
It's very, very tight.
As was the angle he scored from.
Very tight, but you can't take away the finish. It's what a finish it is with his left foot. Great run as well, whether he was offside or not. But that's disappointing, obviously, to concede so early in the second half. And again, it's just keeping the heads, cool, calm head here, and trying to regroup.
Well, he's taken over the captain's armband after Ruiz went off, and he offers a thumbs up to his teammate for the pass. He had a job to do, play to the whistle and all that jazz. That's what he did, and he belted it in. Very good goal from Brian Hill.
Probably similar to Chris McKee's angle and at the start of the second half, Michael. You know, that's probably the difference in terms of where we are. You know, one goes in the back of the net, the other one goes into the stand.
Front says Rodri. Gallagher back to his keeper. Now Pacheco. Thought about making that little run in behind. Cameo was considering it too. They can watch that one roll out as Miranda will go and pick up the ball and ready the throw in. What a year Miranda has had. Scored the winning penalty to claim the Copa del Rey over Valencia. A competition that the last time Real Betis won it in 2005, he was only 5 years old. So scoring for your local team to win them a cup like that, that is some going.
At such a young age as well. Dreams come true.
He's most certainly one to watch across European football.
But that's the calibre of players we're playing against and the standards that we're playing against. You know, it's going to be great for these young lads. Obviously, you don't want to lose and you want to be competitive and you want to compete, Michael. But I mean, when you look at it like that, you know, you're talking a top quality players.
It brings it home. It certainly wouldn't be part of my team talk if I was trying to motivate anybody. Galbraith and Taylor got a touch on it. It's been steadied and Allen wasn't steadied himself. I could only slice through it. It was a difficult one to try and carve something meaningful from, the way it was popped into his path. And a half chance goes comfortably wide. There have been some memorable meetings with Spain. The one you were talking about, the 2-1 under Ian Barraclough, where Northern Ireland raced into a lead and then had to save a penalty as well in that game. Conor Hazard providing the heroics, and the match before that will always live with me at Shamrock Park. I remember the Spanish players weren't very happy at that point because Shamrock Park wasn't in the best conditions, just the time of year it was, everything else, and the game finished 5-3 to Spain. And well, I think it was the easiest night's work I've ever had to do in my life because the football told the whole story.
Yeah, there were two great games. I remember them well. Two great games, and obviously I think it was probably one of Ian's biggest victories, you know, as an under-21 manager, certainly.
Cameo. Lasagasti was in the middle, won't be able to find him. Good bit of defending there from Sean Stewart. Belongs to Norwich City. Can be a bit of a set piece specialist, but he's having to defend one here. Front post duty. As you can see, a bit of a breeze. Not much movement in that flag. It's ideal conditions for football. Riquelme, well, limbs hanging for it, and it ricocheted in the end into the gloves of the diving goalkeeper.
Their work rate off the ball. We talk an awful lot about them in possession, Michael, and how good they are and how comfortable and how they find passes, but you know, we kind of forget the work they do off the ball, you know, in terms of closing down and pressing high and real intensity of trying to win the ball back.
think he saw his name in lights there, but couldn't quite get the execution to match the idea and imagination. Taylor keeping the defence honest. And the keeper able just to take a deep breath and play the pass he wants. Opening up for the Spaniards once again. Riquelme. Well, that's Agasti. Miranda is there. Rodri's behind him, but he goes into the centre instead. The striker was waiting.
Great interception from Big Sam. Good
McClelland
position, yeah.
had the anticipation. Well, there's been a bit of speculation about where his future might lie. His contract coming to an end at Chelsea. Will they, with new owners now, decide to keep him on? Obviously they were hamstrung for a little while. Chelsea couldn't do much business. Will they make that decision, or will he be moving on? People will be watching on, no doubt. That hasn't gone out. Northern Ireland were hoping it would have. Brian Hill, who's extended Spain's lead, looking to try and put it beyond doubt. Now producing a bit more of the gamesmanship and some of the tricks. I think that little elastico, if you want to call it that he tried a moment ago, is something we used to try in the playground.
And fall over about 5 times.
More than 5 times. Stewart. Composed play from him. Just the difficulty is making it stick for Northern Ireland. And changes will be coming.
6-3, Michael.
Well, that is exactly what you said would happen.
Maybe 4 coming on.
We'll confirm the changes when they happen. The next stoppage of play is Spain weren't able to work their way through. And the challenge coming in on McKee brings Northern Ireland an opportunity now to make the alterations if they want, but they're playing on for the time being. Taylor, well, he was outnumbered.
I kind of feel sorry for Taylor and McKee up there. You know, they've been starved, and you know they're fighting for everything, to be fair, and they've worked really hard, but they're working off scraps at the minute, Michael. And as a centre forward, I would say they'd be really frustrated in terms of what they're getting.
Well, now is the chance to make the changes, the first one of which we'll see Oisin Smith come on, formerly of Dungannon Swifts. He is on, the Oxford United player for Terry Devlin, so former teammates, one replacing the other. Taylor's afternoon is coming to an end as Barry Bagley is going to be introduced. Scored a screamer on the final day against Bolton. They could do with a bit of inspiration here. John McGovern of Newry City just signed a new contract, has come on, and the other player coming on is going to be Kieran McGuckin. So 4 changes in total.
Substitutions for Northern Ireland, number 15, Terry Devlin.
Yeah, hopefully it'll give them a bit of freshness, Michael, and a bit of legs as well that they probably much need. You know, John will definitely give you a run of power and pace up top. McGuckin, you know, he's a good finisher. You know, he's had a really good season at Rotherham and just signed a new Pro D. And as you just said, Barry Bagley, you know, he's last game of the season, I think it was, he scored an absolute wonder goal. And
it was a peach, all right.
Yeah, I think one of the best videos we've seen in a long time was that in the house.
Yeah. So Northern Ireland rolling the dice, as is their gift at this stage in the game.
I think they've kept the same formation. Michael, I don't think there's going to change in that. And the 2 up top is Kieran and John, and Barry just playing in behind.
Fresh legs a factor, do you think, as much as anything after all the running off the ball?
I think so. You know, the running off the ball, you know, they've been out of starved of possession for a long period.
Well, and now they've given away possession. Balmer was robbed of it. Rodri pulling it back, and it's going to fall for Brian Hill, who can put the icing on the cake. Northern Ireland, architects of their own downfall on this occasion. And whereas before they were beaten by quality, this time it's a mistake, and they have been punished for it.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's been a little bit of sloppiness from at the back and hesitation. Again, a good pullback. Well, it's a good finish too. It's a calm finish from a top player. You know, he's been exceptional all day.
Well, you would like to think he's good. He cost Spurs nearly 22 million plus Eric Lamela.
When you've seen Ruiz going off, you're kind of hoping, you know, the back three will be going, oh, happy days. The centre forwards come up, and then a player like Hill steps up the mark and takes the armband and has scored 2.
I wonder, is Antonio Conte watching the stream? Maybe he'll change his mind on things. Who knows?
I would say someone at Spurs is watching it, but I don't know if it'll be Conte. I think he'll be on a beach at the minute.
Get on with things. Just wouldn't fall for them there, as Bagley wasn't quite sure whether to take the touch or leave it through. He ended up on the ground. Smith. Well, some might have thought Oisin Smith would have been a nailed-on starter for this one, but on the pitch now, it'll be interesting to see what kind of positive influence he can have for the remainder of this one.
Again, Oisin, you know, he comes with a bit of experience. Obviously, captain of Dungannon last season, got his move to Oxford. Probably going against him, and maybe something that John looked at was his lack of match fitness. You know, because he hasn't played too much for Oxford since he's been away. So I would say that being a factor of whether he started or not.
Well, Kieran McGuckin using that ball system quite well there. Kicks the first one away in frustration, and you think time wasting, but he went and retrieved another one to make sure nobody told him off. So that's rather quick thinking from him. Spain are going to make further alterations now as Rodri leaves the pitch, and Alasagasti is going to come off too. Robert Navarro and Adrian Bernabé, the players to come on. Bernabé, who was on the books at Man City, not a bad journey so far. Went from Barcelona to Manchester City. He's now playing in Serie B with Parma.
Adrian Bernabé. Replacing number 10, Rodri. Number 18, Roberto Navarro.
The difference here, like, they stay calm, you know, in the build and the weight, and they suck you in and they move it, and they just, you know, think that nothing's going to happen, and then all of a sudden they switch the play just like that. It's great to watch.
First touch of the ball for Bernabé as he tries to ignite this latest attack, and you can see the pace and purpose in it as Miranda blasts it in. It is a quality move from Spain. They swept from the back right through the green jerseys, and it flew beyond me to make it Northern Ireland 0, Spain 4.
That's the difference. You know, it just said there, Michael, just before, the keeper, you know, plays a pivotal part in what's happened there. He's stayed calm, he's moved it about. He's 2 or 3 passes on one side, switched to a diag, and 2 touches up the pitch, and it's in the back of your net. You know, quality from Spain. You know, again, disappointing from our perspective to concede, you know, so easy like that.
This is a Spain team that has not just swept through that move, but swept through the group as well. 6 and 6. It's going to be 7. Played 7 wins, and with 1 game to go, there's no sign of anyone stopping them in this group anyway. They are going to be some contenders once again when the championships roll around next year. Well, advantage has been given and then wasn't accrued, so free kick now for Northern Ireland as John Schofield just tries to, I guess, keep spirits up, because they don't want it to be a really wide margin in the end here and end up being a day to forget, as opposed to a day where they, stood up for so long against a very good team. But this Spain side in the group put it past Lithuania. Northern Ireland, not that they're going to say anything less than it is a victory, but they just don't want to be falling into that sort of conversation. It's, well, initially a good bit of forward play from Bagley, isn't it? He's able to hold off the man, but again it's off balance, Jared, and he didn't have the conviction in the final attempt.
It's the difference, Michael. It is. You get Spain get into our box and they're clinical, and they're ruthless, and we've had a couple of wee opportunities like that, half opportunities, and we've mishit it, or we've been off balance, or we've had an interception. But it was good play nicely from McGurkin. He done well and to hold his player off and play a nice forward pass over the defender.
Will there be a consolation prize for Northern Ireland? That is a really long throw, and Tanas has landed on his backside, and the referee, as they often do, not to dispute the challenge or anything else, but they tend to side with the goalkeepers when they fall down.
Just watch now, Michael, in their build-up. We've set up for a high press, but it doesn't bother them. They'll play around us. They'll find a way. They'll not go long. They'll suck you in. Probably make a fool out of me here. There you go. Keeper's capable enough of picking the pass out like that.
And it nearly gets to a stage in the game where you see them trying little things and going, well, this is a good chance to work on this other shape or this other drill, or let's try and do this for 10 minutes and see how we respond if we do let them press us more, and if we do put ourselves in these uncomfortable territories. It's the sort of enviable things that smaller nations wish they had the luxury of affording themselves the time to do. But Northern Ireland, eyes up, pulling that across, pulling it behind, it must be said.
But it's wanting to do it, Michael. It's wanting to work off the ball. It's wanting to get on the ball and be confident. Obviously, the biggest thing is confidence and belief in going and doing and playing out from the back, or building from the back. That's what it boils down to in the end. Just having that belief in yourself to be able to do it.
Another change is imminent for Spain. Julen Lobete is going to come on and add to the numbers of Real Sociedad youngsters. They are very strongly represented within the squad there. B side just been relegated from the Segunda División in Spain, and Xabi Alonso, their manager, half decent player. He is being linked with a number of big jobs in Europe despite the relegation, because he's managing a B side that got into the second tier of Spanish football. So despite their exit down a division, I don't think it's done his reputation much damage in Spain or indeed across Europe. So we'll keep an eye, I'm sure, all of us as football fans, to see how that might develop. But the change is coming. Lobete is on, and it will be a third captain of the afternoon for Spain as Brian Hill with 2 goals heads off. And Victor Gomez of Espanyol takes over the armband as we see Lobete enter the fray. And despite primarily being a sub for his club side, Lobete did score back in the first week of the season at the Nou Camp. So,
it's not bad, is it?
It's not bad. He scored a few important goals. He's got a late winner over Mallorca as well in October, but
I'm sure our back three will be delighted to hear or see him coming on.
Who's this late sub? Oh yes, scored against Barcelona first weekend. All right, okay, great. But that's what it's all about at the end of the day. You want to be able to say you played against these players. Certainly, that looked like it was rather close to the line. I certainly know some of our Irish League players talk for many years after the European journeys and the matches our club sides get to play on, and be remiss of me not to mention Larne in that. You think of what they achieved last season and what they'll hope to achieve in the coming season, and they're not the only example, but whilst we're here, they're certainly one worth mentioning.
Absolutely. I mean, the job that Tiernan's done, and the job at the whole backroom staff and even the staff around in terms of
Well, let's just see how this one moves. Try to cut across you there. It's fallen Lebete. Can't be offside as it was played by a defender.
Yeah.
Unless he didn't mean it.
Unless he didn't mean it. I think he did.
We're not opening that can of worms again after the Champions League final. That's just me misbehaving with 20 minutes to go.
No, going back to Lauren, it's been an incredible journey for them in the last 3 years or so, and you know, full credit to him. As I said at the start of the game, you know, when you look around here and what's been put in place, it's brilliant, and it's something that we should be really proud of, you know, as part of the Irish League, and reporting on it and watching it every week.
Here. Well, there was a bit of a foul there, wasn't there? The arm was being pulled, most certainly. That was right in front of our referee. Vitalis Spasonikovs has not been too busy this afternoon. He'll hope that it stays that way for what's left of it. A few clouds making their way now.
I'm actually glad, Michael. It's cooled down a little bit in here in the greenhouse.
Well, as we watch that one fly over from Navarro, I was, you know, saying earlier on, it's perfect weather for football. It wasn't perfect weather for either of our smartphones. We were getting the warnings that they were getting a little too warm. But you can never win, can you? You can play it if it's too cold, you can play it if it's too warm.
That's typical of us, isn't it?
Our cameraman's just going to grab the jacket there, so it obviously is cooling down for
he's had
one and all.
I think he's had a weather warning. Barra's been under him. Get your coat ready.
Over Park, your attendance this afternoon is 1,100. 1,100. Thank you very much.
100, the official attendance here, just being mentioned. There's one section of the ground that they can't use with the standing area because of the UEFA regulations, just in case anybody's wondering why the standing area, which is usually packed for league games, why it's not being used here. Rules, in a word. But
that's still great to see. I mean, 1,100 spectators to come out and watch, you know, our young up and coming talent. You know, it just goes to show, you know, what we're producing, and it's fantastic. And obviously coming to watch Spain as well. It's such a big team. You know, coming here, you don't come often enough to
Raquelme
to see these players on show.
True, and credit where it's due to the Irish Football Association for making it free entry for everybody as well. I think we all need to be encouraging people to come and watch the future generations of the Northern Ireland team, and these are opportunities to do that. And it's, you know, this isn't the only game where it's been a possibility, but it's great that they're maximising the opportunity that Spain provides, don't they? Because you want to come and see it.
Absolutely, and it's like what we said before, Michael, about developing our game here, and that's a big part of it. You know, clubs are doing it now, so it's fantastic that the Irish FA have obviously not charged any spectators in to encourage them to come and watch.
I know they haven't made me say it. There'll be somebody on Twitter afterwards, teacher's pet or whatever else. Northern Ireland back on the ball as Scott plays the pass wide. Galbraith has had his work cut out today, hasn't he, really? And difficult for those creative players who, you know, against other opposition, we'd be waxing lyrical about everything they can do, but he's not going to get much time on the ball here. And even if he does, the out ball is that pass that you're hoping for. Often that route is closed off.
Yeah, it's the options off the ball, and that's the key to being successful, and especially a team that try and play in possession. You know, you see Spain, for example, every time they have a ball, they've 2 or 3 options. Every time someone's on a ball, they've 2 or 3 options, and if they don't, they'll have the switch, and they'll find it no problem. They'll execute it perfectly.
Lebete, little slip there, hasn't aided Northern Ireland's defensive endeavours. He gets it back again, just able to hold it off, and he made the run, and the header took it away from him. It hasn't dampened Spain's hopes of going on. Gomez might have had a fair shout for a free kick there, as Oisin Smith just uses his strength. Big powerful boy, no doubt about that, and he was able to wrestle his way through the bodies. That is where you see the difference of a person that's had so much experience of senior football, isn't it? And just their ability to stand up to that sort of a challenge.
Yeah, it's no understanding how to use your body, when to use your body, and when you're playing at them levels, you know, it comes so natural to you.
Yeah, leave it, John.
15 to go. Will there be a consolation goal to give the home fans something to cheer for? Spain have only conceded 4 in the 6 matches previous. And 2 of those were in the same game against Slovakia, so it's a difficult task, as we've witnessed. Galbraith. Not quite. Well, Northern Ireland trying by hook or by crook to stop Spain. They're not able to. They really are not able to. And Riquelme rounds off the move with a great goal as Kofi Balmer is booked in the aftermath for the challenge that he made. But Riquelme running through, Spain running riot, and it's now 5-0.
Michael, you look at the intensity here to win the ball back and the hunger. You've just missed it off screen, but there was 2 players really pressing like mad to go and counter and win the ball, and obviously, you know, the hunger and desire. It's still a 4-0 there. It's still working as hard as it were when it was 1-0. You know, it's great. Really, really good.
So Dylan Boyle is going to come on. Another Fleetwood Town player. Made 10 appearances in League One this season for them. He's on as Ethan Galbraith is the player to come off. He was dispossessed trying to pirouette through 2 players and was picked off, and then Northern Ireland were wide open. Riquelme still had to put in the work, but with his pace he manages to cover a great distance in such a short space of time.
Yeah, they're just ruthless. You know, they're relentless. They'll keep going and going and going, and until the 90 minutes they'll be wanting to score as many goals as possible. You know, and say it was important that, you know, we didn't panic and try to stay a little bit calm, but obviously, you know, the heads are down at the minute and things aren't going our way. Just it's important that we keep our discipline too, you know, and that we give away.
Kieran McGuckin is getting a yellow card, and I have to say I feel a little sorry for him, because he didn't, as I imagine the referee believed he might have done, leave one in there. He's just runs past Alejandro Frances, who's hit the ground, and it's more so the speed at which the player comes into the challenge that the referee thought was maybe a little out of control. Strength shown there. Bernabé was not to be bullied. Labete. Alejandro Frances. Oh, great turn. Labete, they're queuing up, and it's Sean Stewart with a very good block to deny Spain from making it 6.
Yeah, it was a great block in the end. I thought it maybe getting away from him, but he's done well, Sean. You know, big 10 minutes, Michael. Let's not try and concede. That's the message that we'll be putting across. You know, try and, I've said it many times, stay calm, but it's never easy when you're playing against opposition like Spain.
Bernabé, big call from me, big throw as well, and Bagley, I can tell you, asked the keeper to throw it to his feet. Miranda. Balmer was the player facing him up there. Bernabé. Gomez. Navarro just couldn't get enough on that little back heel. There was a shove there which the referee didn't notice. Frances. Bernabé. Riquelme already got a goal. Could have had more if not for the woodwork, and me just making sure that that was,
what a ball that was,
edging away. Another tantalising pass that nearly picked off Northern Ireland. It's the ease in which they do the extraordinary that you have to, even if begrudgingly, admire. Nobody wants to be on the end of a scoreline such as this, but sometimes it's very hard to help it. Balmer. Bagley just hadn't quite got his bearings there. Just like that. Knife through hot butter. Mee has shown good control of his area, which, you know, I suppose if you look at it and you look at the scoreline, it might not give you that impression, but you couldn't say that any of the goals were of the keeper's doing.
No, I've been impressed with Dermot. To be honest, you said it there. He's controlled his area pretty well. You know, obviously can't blame him for any of the goals. They've been top quality in terms of the finishes and the strikes. You know, I don't think he could do anything about maybe any of them. You know, he's pulled off one or two good saves in the first half as well, and you know, maybe needs to sort of manage the game a little bit better in terms of, you know, throwing it out to his players quicker and maybe slow it down and maybe learn a little bit from the Spanish keeper in terms of, you know, how they conduct themselves with the ball at their feet.
Gomez getting it across. And Navarro obviously desperate to get on the score sheet. He's had a couple of pops now, but none of those have made the goalkeeper work. That's for the ball boys, though.
I think John's told them to throw the balls away. Again, here, I think we should try and play and try and build them. And looking at their setup, John's worked on it, and we've had a little bit of a fear of trying to play out, and so just kicked the ball with Scott at me. He's just kicked it straight out of play. Commentator's curse, as I say.
Well, if that's your first one and we're nearly at the end of the game, you've done very well. Trust me. The home fans willing a misstep from Arnaud Tenas. Wishful thinking, I would suggest. Gomez. Bernabé. Just brushing it across to Riquelme. Navarro. Bringing the passes together, but Balmer had it sussed. And Northern Ireland might have them stretched. Is it a chance to get in behind? There's your answer. Frances finds the gear.
It just shows you how quick Frances is, because John is very, very quick, young, powerful, strong player, and he couldn't get away from him.
And not long on either. So you would have said, well, the fresher legs potentially, but Frances found the accelerator. Labete
Oh, good save.
had to get a foot out, did just that. Bagley looking around and asking where anybody is. It's good squeezing from Northern Ireland there, but Spain find a way, as they always seem to do, rather enviably, you must say. But even when they're playing with their back against it, a man squeezing quickly, there's always a red jersey nearby to offer assistance. A game to go for both of these teams after this. Lithuania away for Northern Ireland on Tuesday. So do you envisage many changes there? Is that just make sure everyone gets minutes, or... Well, I'll ask you that question in a minute to see how this one emerges. It's going to be tapped in off the post, and it's another captain with another goal.
Yeah.
This time Victor Gomez. The lucky armband streak continues.
I think for all their chances and misses in the first half, they've made up certainly in the second half, Michael. I mean, again, it's great link-up play, these short passes, moving the opposition, staying calm and around the area. Unlucky here, but followed it through. Disappointing.
Ruiz started as captain,
Yeah.
scored, subbed off. Brian Gale turned the captain, scored, went off. Victor Gomez is the captain. I think they'll leave him on, but...
And he's the right back.
Should nearly test the theory and hand it to the keeper at this stage, shouldn't they?
From what I seen the other day, he's capable of scoring.
Northern Ireland 0, Spain 6. Just on that Lithuania game,
Yes,
you know,
sorry.
because we're... I mean, you can barely breathe sometimes when you watch Spain attack, because you think, well, this is a routine move, oh, they've scored again. But do you make lots of changes and just say, look, this is last game, there's nothing to play for, away you go? Or do you say, no, we want to win this, we want to develop something, so we're going to play our best team and go a certain way?
Well, you always want to win, Michael, regardless of what team you put out, and obviously every player that's been selected here for the under-21s are capable and here for a reason, because they're good players. John might look at it as, you know, it's the last game. He could be sentimental to one or two who are obviously finishing their campaign, but knowing John, I don't think there'll be any sentiment, especially after, you know, the result now. I would imagine he'll be looking at players who are coming through and players who are going to be in his new campaign going forward. You know, the McCauslins, this world and that, Dale Taylors, you know, these are all young players that are going to be coming through. So I would say there'll be changes most definitely, and again, it'll be all down to, you know, that dreaded phone call in a way from the Embark Club if he needs any players brought up or brought into his squad. In
terms of eligibility, there's only a couple of players that won't be eligible for, you know, the next campaign as such. So it does also point to the youthfulness in this current crop of players.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the next crop of players coming through, I think, you know, we spoke about it, have 2 campaigns. You know, that's how young they are. And then again, there'll be a couple from my under-19s, you know, 2004s, who potentially could have 3 campaigns, 4 campaigns. So, again,
if you're lucky.
If I'm lucky, yeah. You know, so again, that's the beauty about it, and that's the positives around, you know, what we have coming through. But again, the lads here will gain so much experience in playing against top quality players and opposition as such as Spain, and you know, as much as they'll be disappointed and got it, you know, but I'm sure they'll learn an awful lot from it.
And just on that pathway, because it would be remiss of me not to ask you this, we're looking at under-21s, you're in charge of the 19s and the 17s. What does that pathway look like in terms of, you know, how quickly do you want to progress players?
Well, if they're good enough, you know, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter their age. You know, obviously we have to be sensible in terms of their development, and if they're ready, and you know, we'll look at many factors in terms of players getting in. You know, are they going to miss out game time and experience of playing against other nations? Are they going to sit on the bench and not get time? So there's lots of things to think about and look at. But certainly, you know, we've I'll just wait here to see if this goes in.
Pulled back, ricocheted around. Balmer playing it away. Northern Ireland thought there was an offside in the initial move there, and Bagley doing his level best to try and get a touch on that, and in the end the old staggered fall draws the attention of the referee, and the free kick is given.
No, I'm saying we have a manager that's willing and not afraid to obviously, you know, throw a couple of young players in if they're good enough and developing at their clubs and playing well at their clubs, and also when they come here they make a good account of themselves and present themselves well. So, you know, it's definitely, for me, it's looking good in terms of what we have coming through, Michael.
Well, when you talk about, you know, 21s that have gone into that 28-man panel, you know, some involved last night as well, and I'll probably miss a few naming them off the top of my head, but the likes of Trey Hume, Alfie McCalmont, Paddy Lane, you know, you could run through, there's probably half a dozen, isn't there, really?
Shea Charles, Brodie Spencer, you know, and there's one or two there that'll probably emerge as well again.
Shot from distance, it was a brilliant effort, a really good hit from Bagley, and it is really the perfect opportunity to see the calibre of the keeper at full stretch. Strong hand to make the stop.
Yeah, great strike from young Barry. He has this in his locker, as we spoke about earlier, on his left foot. Great strike, but look at that, great save. I mean, he's not conceding, is he?
Wow.
You know, he doesn't curve at six already. That's why he's such a top keeper, playing at such a top club.
Well, I'd missed the board, but we have 2 additional minutes, which, as you can see, we're almost at the end of. Northern Ireland, last chance saloon. If they are to find a consolation goal, Tanas has fumbled that. But the full-time whistle sounds here at Inver Park, and it is a comprehensive victory for Spain, who continue with their 100% winning record. They were dazzling and absolutely unstoppable once again this afternoon.
They were a joy, Michael, let's be honest. They were an absolute joy to watch, as much as it pains me to say that, but, you know, just every way of their play, you know, from building from the back to playing through the thirds to their, you know, their finishing. You know, they were ruthless, their intensity of play, in and out of possession. You know, it was just any young lads, you know, upcoming footballers watching this game on this channel or watching it in the stand, you know, they could see so much they could learn from there. You know, it's a joy to watch, and I really enjoyed obviously watching Spain. Didn't enjoy obviously the result,